Okay, so we're milking, so we have 6 robots. The rule of thumb is that about 60 cows per robot. So once the mixer is full, it mixes for about 10 minutes. Yeah, triticale silage is our grass silage, corn silage, dry shelled corn, ground shelled corn. So we can, if there's a problem here with this cow, we can route her either from the phone or here. Usually running in the low 90s, 90, 91, 92, 91 pounds per cow per day. There's no heifers on this farm. The calves are only here for 2 or 3 days.
Jesse sent a message saying that he won't be making videos anymore because you haven't subscribed to the Santa Fe channel. So subscribe now, and he will continue recording on farms around the world.
We have this barn is basically bird proof. We have doors at the end that are open. Obviously birds can get in there, but we have the screen on the side walls to keep the birds out. That is also one reason why we we have the ceiling, and it's insulated. The ceiling, the rafters are covered so the birds cannot, there's no place for them to roost. And also we have there's insulation in the ceiling. We felt that was worth it to cut back on heat radiating off of the roof. And we feel like that was very, very well worth it.
Okay. So, and what do you, talking a little bit about the cows, the genetics, and what is this cow, how to improve the genetics of the cows here. So you buy the semen, the reproduction here, or do you have bulls, or do you have insemination? You make the insemination. How this works here?
So that was another one of the goals. I was never really an expert on genetics. I tried to use good bulls, but that was not my forte. The other dairyman, Lyndon, I think if you would prick his veins, he would bleed numbers, genetics. He really loves genetics. He loves so his herd was a little better genetically than our herd, and so currently we are breeding most of our heifers, I believe, to sexed Holstein. Try to pick top of the line bulls. A few of our top cows are being bred to sexed Holstein one time, first service. Second service is almost always Angus. We're doing beef on dairy. We're using a fair amount of sexed male Angus for so we get bull calves. And so yeah, right now with the beef price the way it is, calf price, that's a real money maker this year. Right now we're getting $880 across the board for #1 bull Angus beef on dairy calves. So that's a real income boost for us. Hope that lasts a while, but it is important to have cows that are, I'm going to say, robot friendly. Cows with poor udder conformation, big teats, or too far apart, or udder floors dropped out, or rear teats crossed in the back where the robot can't separate them. And also we have a little trouble with, especially with heifers with rear teats that are too small, too short. A little liner squawk and the thing comes off and you have multiple attachments, and yeah, it's just too many failures. It's really important to have good udder conformation for robotic milkers.
And how many liters the cows produce here at the average?
You'd have to translate this into liters, but we're usually running in the low 90s, 90, 91, 92, 91 pounds. per cow per day. And in saying that, when you ask a lot of farmers, they'll only tell you, they only factor the cows that's going into the tank. This is coming off of Lely's Horizon desktop software, and that includes every cow, sick cows, cows that's just fresh this morning or yesterday that only gave a couple pounds of milk. I mean, that's everyone. Okay, so we're milking, so we have 6 robots. The rule of thumb is that about 60 cows per robot, and we're finding out that seems to be about right. If we get too far over that number, then visits per day drops off. We can sell, like if we would get up to 370 or more cows, we can sell 6 or 8 cows. Milk in the tank stays the same, visits goes up, production per cow goes up. Okay. You cannot overcrowd a robot, it does not work. So the frequency per milking, we're usually around 2.6, sometimes we get up to 2.7, sometimes we're down to 2.5. I know they always talked about milking 3 times a day, and I think Lely has backed off on that. The important thing is that the right cows are being milked. So our fresh cows that are producing 100 to 150 pounds a day, are they getting milked 3 or more times a day? And then tail end cows that's about ready to go dry, if they're only milking 40 or 50 pounds and they're only milking 1 to 1.5 times a day, I don't really care. So our ration is, I'm not the nutritionist, we have a nutritionist that balances the ration, and we're, it's corn silage. We use triticale, triticale silage is our grass silage, corn silage, and then we have dry shelled corn, ground shelled corn, roasted beans, wheat midds, soybean meal or expeller meal, minerals, and the nutritionist balances that out for us. I'm not a nutritionist, that's his job. And then of course we have the pellets that are the robots. So right now our dry matter intake, I wish it was a little higher. We've always struggled with that a little bit. It's about 55 pounds of dry matter per day. 8 to 10 pounds of that is pellets, the rest of it is the PMR.
So, and the other question is, you separe for groups or just it's only one herd?
Okay, so yeah, we just have all our cows running together. We kicked around the idea of trying to sort things out different ways, but we felt like that was going to be more trouble than it was worth. We have the dry cows. I was at the One Home Farm in the old freestall barn there, and the heifers are raised at the other partner's home farm. We actually have 3 farms that we farm together, and so then the dry cows come over here 3 weeks before they calve. They're put in the sluice housing bedding pack here for 3 weeks before they calve, and then they calve here, and we just unload a load of cows on whichever side has the least number of cows. First calf, heifers, everything just runs together. The barn is symmetrical. Half of the cows are on one side of the barn and half on the other side.
Okay, so here's this part where they calve, and the other part is the
yes. And then we do have a sort group, small sort group on each side of the barn for fresh cows. We call it the sick, lame, and lazy group, to take care of any cows that need special attention. There's like 21 stalls on each side of the barn for sick, lame, and lazy cows. We keep the fresh cows in that group for about 3 weeks before we let them go up into the main group. So I don't know if you're interested, but we have this is basically a totally automated barn. Up here, we have these collectors to keep the alleyways clean. The one reason we went with couple reasons we went with the collectors is the playground area for a robot barn is odd shaped. How do you keep it clean? It's not practical to use a skid loader. It's not practical there's different ways of doing it, I guess, but we felt like the collectors was the best option for us. And so these collectors go out, basically they're vacuum, and they go out about every 2 hours and clean the alleyways and there's one up here working now if you want to get a little video of it. So it really keeps the alleyways clean. A lot of alley scraper systems. A scraper comes down through it. You have this tsunami of manure the cows have to walk through. We feel these cows keep their hooves stay a lot drier, a lot cleaner. It's a little bit of a challenge keeping them running. It takes some maintenance and some care to keep them going. But
how many robots have?
We have 6 of these. There's 3 on each side for this barn. There's one down there, there's one here, and then that one. They each have a route they run. The route is programmed. So when they're not running, they're in the charging station, recharging the battery.
How often they run around?
About every 2 hours.
And the mixer?
One of the mixers goes out about every hour.
Every hour they push and
they push. Yeah, we can. We'll talk about that up there.
Capture all the information of the feed bank and
yes.
Back.
One thing I like about the robots is the cows are so calm. Now this one's a pet. Most of them aren't pets, but I really like the fact that we can just walk through the cows and pick out a cow you need, take her down. The rest of them will just keep laying there. You notice we don't have headlocks. We do have some headlocks down for the pre-fresh and sick, lame, and lazy because they take some extra management. But the milking robots, if cows come in heat, it will sort them down to the sort area, and they're already sorted out to breed there. And we do our vet checking, and even the time day eye breeding, we just walk through the cows, and we breed them, vet check right in the free stalls. There's no need. I mean, we figured if we put headlocks in, how many cows would we have locked up anyway when they're laying down, they're eating all day long? And yeah, we just have not regretted that at all. Headlocks are a waste of money in a robot barn. That's my opinion anyway.
It looks great, so. Yeah, the location of the barn is pretty good. Like this wing is.
It is, yes. We built the barn here, tried to utilize natural ventilation, and it's working out pretty well. We just have some fans. That's the west. The barn is east to west. Prevailing winds come from the west, and just a little push the air down through the barn when the wind's not blowing. But and we needed fans this morning. We had fans turned off to put sawdust in the stalls, and it was really muggy. There was no air going, and I couldn't wait to get the fans turned back on again.
So the fans turn on automatically with the temperature?
Yes. These are Wi-Fi controlled. So when when the there's control panels over there on that side, one over here to set the, well, that's for the curtains. Curtains are controlled by that too, so if the wind gets too high or for rain precipitation, the curtains will close automatic. We don't have the master controller for the fans, so in the summer you want the wind blowing. When it's hot, let the wind blow, you want the curtains up. But in the wintertime, not so much. So we have to change the controllers manually as the temperatures change seasonally. Now we could spend $10,000 or $15,000 for the master controller, program it, and that would do all of that for us. But yeah, we didn't spend that money.
Oh, perfect. So you have how many different diets for lactating cows here?
So we're feeding 3 diets in this barn, one for the main group, and then one for the post-fresh, the sick, lame, and lazy, the post-fresh group, and then one for the pre-fresh, the cows that haven't calved yet.
Mm-hmm. So why you decide to don't have the sprinkles here in the feed bunk?
So I was never a fan of sprinklers. They have their place. Here in the east, we have high humidity, and I guess they use them in Florida and other places with high humidity. But my opinion is that if the humidity, sprinklers cool by evaporation, and if the humidity is too high, you're not going to get the evaporation, and you're just pumping a bunch of water, making cows wet. Is it really doing anything? And so we just focused on the location, plenty of air movement, and when it gets hot, when it gets really hot, and we don't have the extremes here that some places in the country and some other countries have. So yeah, I'm not saying this is true for everything everywhere, but if it gets really hot and humid, our cows will drop off in milk, but they bounce back really fast when the temperature drops and things gets a little more comfortable. Yeah, I don't know, sprinklers, I just don't think, I mean, if you had the sprinkler system that it sensed where a cow was standing at the feed bunk and made her wet, but with this barn, so many of the cows are either laying down or walking around or being milked. Where are you going to put the sprinklers where they're going to get a significant number of cows wet without most of the water just running down the drain? That's just, yeah, another whole can of worms we didn't feel like it was worth dealing with.
Yeah, that was a good point, because I think in the conventional milking system, they have specific times to go there. So now here they have more activity, right? Or being in bed, or going there multiple times, or be eating. Yeah, you are right. Yeah.
I mean, we had a daughter that used to live in Colorado, and they had a swamp cooler for an air conditioner. It's not an air conditioner. It's just fan pulling air through a water. And it's amazing, but they have extremely low humidity.
Yeah.
They have the evaporation that doesn't work here. Yeah, we have the dump waters. They get clean. I think the boys clean them every day. Cows love those brushes. They just, 2.5 years and the brushes are wore out. It's just
You can see that the hair is pretty much need a replacement.
Yeah.
They just love that. That's very funny.
They love those brushes.
And about the bed, is there something different?
We're using the DCC dual chamber water beds. I had them at the old farm. They are a little bit expensive, but they are durable. We've had them at the old barn, I don't know, I'm gonna say 10 years or more, and we have had no trouble. We have had no repairs on them whatsoever. They're still as good as new. And yeah, the cows love them. We put sawdust on. The sawdust is just to for moisture control, to keep the wet spots dry. That's the only reason we use the sawdust. Because we have no swollen hocks. I mean, I don't think you can find swollen hock in the barn. So our feed, we grow our own corn silage, we grow our own triticale silage, we have our own shelled corn and roasted soybeans. And so then everything else we buy some express meal, which is extruded soybeans meal, and minerals. We buy some wheat midds. Well, that's pretty much it. So it takes 2 mixers to feed this barn. One's in the standby charging station. The other one's up there in the mixing station. You just wait a minute. I can turn that on and make a mix here. I want to see who needs a mix.
Have you ever experienced a day that both of the robots was not working, or never happened? Okay, we can cut that.
No, we hope. Fortunately, it only went down one at a time. But obviously, if something major quits, yeah, and we do not have a really good backup system. We have a regular TMR mixer for the dry cows, but I am not sure we could even get the thing down the alley. When the salesman tried to sell these to us, that was one of the selling points. You can make the barn narrower. You can save enough money making the barn smaller because you don't need all the space to get a tractor and mixer down through there. So you can spend that money on this. Well, yeah, but if you can't get a tractor mixer down there, how are you going to feed them when these things goes down? So we did have one of these out of commission for about 4 or 5 hours yesterday. We had to pull the auger out of the middle, pull the gearbox out, and change the seal. We try to keep our maintenance so that anticipate failures, fix them when we want to fix them instead of when they break. So that's why we changed that seal. So what we do then, we knew this mixer was going to be down for a couple hours, so we raised the feed bunk level, put a whole pile of feed out there, so that, yeah, then we screwed up and that mixer wasn't running either. So anyway, yeah, we try to manage, so we want to maintain something, fix something. We put a bunch of feed out, and then the cows have something to eat till we get them back in service again. So usually we fill, so that box has corn silage, this one's the triticale grass silage, and the third one is dry chopped hay. So these two with the wet forages, we fill them once or twice a day. During the summer when it's hot, we put it in twice a day. Wintertime when it's cold, maybe just once a day. But yeah, we almost have to put it in the corn silage in twice a day because we can't get enough in to last the whole day. But yeah, when the weather's cold, it gives more flexibility. But when it's hot and humid, you have to manage to keep the feed fresh. So
how many times they come here?
These mixers run 24 hours a day. You see that little red dot there on the floor? That's a laser. It senses how much feed is in the feed bunk when it goes around the barn. And then when it comes back, it tells the feed master controller which feed bunk section needs feed. And then the next mixer will load that mix and take it out. And of course that can all be set. The main group, it's basically full mixer loads, but then the pre-fresh group and the post-fresh group they're just small loads because it's just a small group of cows. But one of these mixers goes out about every hour.
So fresh feed all the time, pretty much.
Fresh feed all the time, yep. But it's also, it's a challenge to manage the feed bunk in the winter. In the summer. Because when it's hot and there's feed laying there all the time, you have to give the cows time to clean it up. So we'll pause the mixers for a couple hours, give the cows a chance to clean that up, and also keep it cleaned up periodically with the skid loader, because stuff will lay back in the corner of the feed bunk along the wall there and just it just gets crappy like any other feed bunk would. So it's a challenge to manage this stuff. It's not, don't think you're gonna put this kind of equipment in and then go on vacation for a week and everything's gonna work. I was up last night at 3 o'clock, the night before at 3 o'clock in the morning. 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, we get alarmed. Somebody has to be available to come take care of it, get it going again. Usually it's pretty minor, but somebody has to do it.
Yeah. And the alarm was because of the feeding or the milking?
So yes, let's see. Yeah, this morning we have a little problem with dry ground corn bridging in the bin. The bin was about empty and it hung up, and so I had to come beat on the bin a little bit, and that took care of it. I forget what it was.
No, that's fine.
Well, actually I came over, I think that was a feed issue too, and then I had a cow with milk fever, and so I just stayed a couple hours. And that is one thing, you have a little more flexibility. So if you want to take care of issues early, you have your sick cows or fresh cows or whatever that needs attention, you can do that a couple hours early, a couple hours late. It's not that big a deal. It's not like you have to be here at the barn, 4:30 every morning and 4 o'clock every evening. You have some flexibility. That there's some advantages in that. I will say the less robots you have, the more flexibility you have. If you have 60 cow herd and one robot is one thing. You have 6 robots and 360 cows, you're gonna have 6 times the chance of something going wrong. So you better have some more help. The more you have, you're gonna need more help just to keep things running. One person can't take care of everything after a certain point.
So in between feeding times, how many times you think the robot will push feeds?
Every time they go around the barn. This skirt, every time they go around the barn, that skirt turns and pushes the feed in. So it does everything the same pass. It delivers feed, pushes feed in, checks the feed level, each pass, each turn around the barn. One thing we did that did not work out very well is we had all 3 were just commercial silage wagons that we set here, like these 2 Miller Pro, which are made out of just steel. And we had one for the corn silage. When that did not work, the acid in the corn silage just ate that thing up. We couldn't keep cross conveyor chains. The cross conveyor, that steel just rotted out. So we had to we had that box custom made. That box is all stainless steel, and that set us back about $40,000 that we weren't really planning on. We had one of these boxes up there for about 2 years, but we just couldn't keep it running.
So if you have a bigger herd, you are gonna have pretty much like another robot, or how this works, the number of robots you have?
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure exactly. It depends on your barn layout. These are fairly small robots. I wish they were a little bigger. There's some other companies out there that has bigger mixers, but yeah, depending on how far these have to run from where they fill to where they deliver feed. I'm not sure exactly how many cows one of these would handle, but it definitely takes 2 of them here. They're pretty busy.
Any feed you tried to use that you were using before for the cow's diet that didn't work on the system? You have any experience that was not like, oh, I cannot use because it's getting stuck there because of humidity or things like that?
I'm not sure how we would use cottonseed if years ago I used cottonseed at the old farm. You just scoop it up with a bucket and dump it in. I'm not sure we could use cottonseed here. High moisture corn, we decided not to use it because it was going to be too big of a challenge trying to keep it fresh. I think there's a lot of herds. High moisture corn is a good feed, but I think we hurt our cows too much because it's a challenge to keep it fresh, and so with this kind of a system, we decided to go with dry shelled corn, which has its own issues, but like getting it out of the feed bin, it's just but anyway, I know people do use high moisture corn successfully. If you can figure it out, yeah. These robotic systems are not for everyone. If you don't like to maintain stuff, keep it clean. If you don't like to fix stuff, if you're gonna call the dealer every time something quits working, don't do it. It's not gonna work. You can't afford it. I mean, we tore the gearbox and put a seal in one of these gearboxes ourselves. We had no idea how we were doing it, but my son was able to do it, and it probably saved us $500 service call, and it was only probably a $5 seal we put in it. We got a whole kit. Well, all we needed was the seal. We got an aftermarket seal to put in it, back in the kit, so now we still have the seal kit we can use the next time. And the more stuff you can fix and service and clean yourself, the better you'll be. You'll spend a lot of time in the barn, but it's going to be doing different things than what you did before.
Yeah, it's just a different type of work, but it's still working, right?
What is the knife? It's like, what's the direction? It's horizontal or vertical?
Yeah, it's a vertical screw. Basically, we don't have anything that needs chopped or processed, so it's just mixing. Our feed storage is out here. We have a bunker here for corn silage, and driveway goes down around, and we just run the skid loader down there and bring it up by the skid loader bucket full and dump it in the box. Someday we might want to put a bunker on the other side for grass silage, but right now we're using bags. We have our own bagger. We had it before. The biggest thing I don't like about the bags is it's a little harder to control dry matter because you put in one load, and if you get a dry load, then the load is a little wetter. But we have pretty big harvesting equipment, and that's not, we can get our stuff put away in a short amount of time, so the variability is not too big of an issue for us.
Okay. So they get the food, the feed here, and all the things now will be automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just this part.
Yeah,
human.
these boxes are filled once or twice a day with a skid loader. And
do you know the time? What time they make this?
Whenever.
Whenever.
Just say there's feed in there.
Okay, just certificate.
It's a little bit critical to keep the feed height the same, because the feeding system learns how much feed is on the conveyor, and so it will try to shut the wagon off so that the feed that's on the conveyor is just enough to finish the mix. So if you have feed coming slow, you're not going to have quite enough. If you have feed coming fast, you might have a little too much. It's not perfect, but it is pretty close. But the more variability you have in the feed height here in the front, the more variability you're going to have in your mix accuracy.
Have you ever had any problem with the mixer breaking, extra fiber than you wanted for the corn silage or the forage in general, or this doesn't, make the particle size very small that, made you worry about it?
No, I mean, so once the mixer is full, it mixes for about 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes, and then it goes out. I don't think there's any more particle breakdown.
How often your nutritionist comes here?
Oh, I don't know, twice a month, or yeah. He's a couple hours away, but he's always available by phone or email or whatever. And yeah, we get a visit once or twice a month.
But all the information of the farm is here in your system, and this is the system of the land system.
So most of our information is here, but we still use PC Dart, mostly for breeding and health reasons, and also for the young stock management. The Lely's Horizon doesn't have everything that we feel like we need. This bunk does not need feed. I turned it on so you could see it operate.
Okay.
I just saw something very interesting here. So now it's 3 p.m. How many times do you think that these cows ate already today? Like,
I have
probably
no
like
idea.
5, 6 turns of the machine.
I have no idea. So whenever it's here, whenever they want it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't. Now there is eating minutes on the app. On a herd basis, we can tell. And rumination, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Rumination drops on a cow. It's a little easier to pick up potential problems a little quicker, a little earlier. But how many? I mean, we have eating minutes and rumination, but actually, how many times they come to the feed bunk, I don't know.
No, yeah, just because we thought this is 3 p.m. Probably they ate many times already, but as soon as the machine passed pushing or delivering feed, they will, because you'll see there was a lot of feed here. It skipped, it didn't put any feed there. There's 4 cows there eating, 3 cows eating, where it just went through here and put down fresh feed, and so they all come and check it out. I think that helps boost dry matter intake, is having the mixer come by, and of course we learned that in conventional barns. If you just push the feed up, cows will come eat more often. The U.S. beef herd, especially in the West, where they do a lot of grazing, ranching, has been decimated by dry weather the last couple of years. They're really low on beef cattle. And so that has really given dairy a market for what we call beef on dairy. That is Holstein cows bred to Angus, especially Angus bulls. And then these calves are going to Texas and being raised for beef.
because the calf herd is so small. There's just not enough of beef cattle to meet the demand. It has given us a real boost. That's a real income booster right now.
Okay. And the other question is, why don't you sand in the bed?
Sand is a good bedding. We don't use sand because it's not readily available here. It's extremely expensive, and then we have the issues of handling it. It's hard on equipment. It's hard to get out of the manure pit. I did use sand at the old barn, at our old farm, for quite a few years, and then it got scarcer and scarcer and more expensive. And we just couldn't. It just wasn't worth it anymore, and that's why I put we put the water beds at the old farm. And then that's why we put water beds here. Sand just is not practical in this area.
Could you explain again about this part? Curtains, yeah.
So those curtains are on a controller. The it's raining outside, the rain's blowing in, so it senses the precipitation, and it's closed the bottom curtain so the rain doesn't blow in here on the feed apron.
So it's automatic too?
That's automatic, yeah. So there's settings on the controller for wind speed, temperature, and rain. So we can set that to close at whatever those parameters we think it needs to be. So this is one thing we did here. Wow, it would have been cheaper to put these 2 rows of stalls together and just had 1 row of posts, but we had the extra space because of the robot at the other end. So we put these 2 and put a walkway down here and then raised the walkway so that we blew sawdust in. It wouldn't blow the whole way across. And we really like this because when you walk down here, you're elevated just a little bit, and you can kind of look out over the top of the cows and see what's going on the whole way across the barn. This turned out a lot nicer than what we anticipated. Kind of helps make up for some of the things we did wrong.
Who projected this barn for you?
So it was a team effort. The contractor actually went along to visit some farms with us. He had a lot of good ideas. I mean, this wasn't their first barn, and we visited some farms. My nutritionists have been around, seen a lot of different facilities over the country, and yeah, it was a team effort. Everybody, we had meetings with the plumber, the electrician, the concrete guys, with everyone. The whole time we were building the barn, we had a meeting every week with everybody that was involved in whatever was going on that week. And I think that was critical. We picked up we missed some, but we picked up a lot of issues as we went along and eliminated a lot of potential mistakes and problems. We still made some. I mean, nothing's perfect, but yeah.
This is something simple, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
I never saw something like that, but
and I'm not even sure whose idea it was, but yeah, I don't know who to give the credit to. It was just, when we're talking and.
But the cows can't move to the other side.
No. It's symmetrical. Everything on that side stays on that side. Everything over here stays on this side unless we manually move them. So that's a cross gutter there. When the collector gets to that, that's where the manure goes in the cross gutter, and then it's all gravity flow down to the manure pit. So we do our foot trimming. It's basically, we were doing it every 6 months, the whole herd, everything, dry cows, spring and heifers got trimmed We did that every 6 months. With the new barn, we backed that up a little bit to, or bumped it up a little bit to about 5 months. With the new barn, we were having more problems with new concrete and everything. Yeah, it's critical that cows are not lame. If a cow's, it hurts to walk, she's not going to visit the robot. We just trimmed 5 or 6 cows this morning that had problems. In between, we have a portable table so that when we have problems in between, we'll take care of them ourselves. There's a lot to learn with the data. There's a lot to learn with keeping the robots running when something goes wrong. How do you fix it? Most of the problems we can either fix ourselves, or with a phone call they can tell us how to fix it. 90% we don't have to get a service guy to come, because we have one service guy that lives close. Everybody else is 2 hours away, unless they happen to be working in the area. Well, actually, that's for after hours. We have, if he's on call, he's only 30 minutes away. But if he's not on call, then we gotta wait 2 hours for somebody to get here. So we try to take care of everything we can ourselves.
So how many people work here? How many employees?
So we have, basically, I'm part-time, Lyndon's the herd manager, and we have 2 Hispanic guys that are full-time. Yeah. They take care of the fetch cows, bedding the free stalls. They do a lot of the cleaning, keeping the manure collectors clean. Yeah, they do some work over with the calves, keeping them bedded, and they fill the feed boxes and transport feed back and forth.
Could you tell us a little bit about the process?
Well, it's a basic robot. Each brand works a little bit different. This cow's about ready to go out, so we'll watch a new cow come in. I like the way they're shaking her head at that gate. She knows it's supposed to be coming open soon. She wants in. Each time a cow comes in, she's identified. There's some cow information here. She's milking a little over 100 pounds a day. She's pregnant 2 months, calving date, expect to dry off, but basically the brushes is pre-treatment here. She get her teats brushed. She's expected to give 51 pounds of milk this milking. And it's amazing how close this comes out. I mean, she'll probably be within a pound or 2 of that. But it calculates how much milk she gave, how much time it's been since she was milked the last time. So now it's brushing and giving a little blow dry, air dry each teat. Brushes retract. Left rear attached, right rear attached. Left front attached. And right front is attached. And the milk is starting to flow. So if it fails to attach, it will keep trying multiple times. But if it continues, if it fails long enough, then it'll just exit the cow and record that as a failed milking. And then we need to figure out, you know, why it failed. It could be different reasons why it failed. But then yeah, a failed milking goes on the list for us to check out.
So how the system know or how much ration they put for the cow? I think that 6 pounds.
Yes, this is she'll get 6 pounds. That's all controlled by the computer. I mean, we can control that, the whole lactation, like, and I can't even tell you how it is set up right now, but when the cow calves, basically we gradually ramp that up. We ramp that up, and then like at 30 days, then it's opened up so that we lead feed her so that we get as much milk as we can out of the peak. And then after she reaches her peak, then she has to produce enough of milk to justify that pellet amount. And then it's gradually ramped down, and then before we dry them off, we pull the pellets back so that we can lower milk production if we have to for dry off.
Good.
So we can, if there's a problem here with this cow, we can route her either from the phone or here. We can send her down to the sort group for further analysis or whatever. These can get a little dirty inside with all the electronics. They don't want it washed. So yeah, we got to be a little careful how much water we spray around in there, but I don't know, for 2.5 years I don't think they look too bad. So yeah, there's a lot of, most of this stuff doesn't cause any trouble, but if one of these cables goes bad, then that's a service call. We're not, they have to bring a computer out and plug it in and try to figure out which cable it is, and that can take a while. We've had that happen a couple times. Yeah, again, we don't get in there too often, but every once in a while.
It's very good. It's an amazing system. And so, how the ration go to the bunk?
There's 2 bins right up there. It's a flex auger, but there's 2 bins outside there that bring the pellets in, drop it down through this tube, and then there's a little metering motor in there, and that just goes by meter. It's not weighed, so that has to be calibrated every once in a while to make sure so many seconds delivers so many grams of pellet or whatever. But we did put a clear tube up there because sometimes as long as the meter's running it's assuming they're getting pellets. If there's no pellets there, it doesn't know it. So we have to visually, we put the clear tube in there to make sure that we can visually check and make sure there's pellets available, because if the bin runs empty, the motor breaks down, yeah, it's going to quit running, but we won't be notified. We have to
Check everything.
We have to check that on our own, yes.
How they set up the robot? You need to set up every cow, or there's a camera, there's a laser?
It's a laser. You can So we got somebody coming in. She's almost finished. But yeah, you can see if there's a laser that see, and it learns the cow. So when you have a new heifer, new heifers are the worst because it has no idea. So it takes a little bit the first, depending on the heifer. If she's really put together nice, it's no problem. This robot was put in service in April of 22. That's almost 2.5 years. It has milked 127,000 cows in 2.5 years. That's, we get mad at them sometimes when they don't work right, but it's a lot. Yeah, they do a lot, and there's 6 of them. That's just this robot. It's not the other 5. It's just this one, 127,000 cows. So
it's about 1 million. With all the robots.
Each robot is milking about 150 cows a day. So we're getting 900, a little over 900 visits for 6 robots. So that would be about 150 a day. And that's shutting down 3 times a day to wash. So you can see that, well, there, that laser there is, you can see it there flashing on the teats. So one thing we really like about this barn is we have the herdsman's offices right there. All of our medicine, all of our health equipment is right here, and usually our problem cows are here. So we have plenty of light. We have the lock-up stalls. We have a portable milker to milk any cow that is not able to go through the robot. Doesn't happen real often, but it really makes a bad job a little less distressful when you can you have things handy to take care of the problem.
Good. And how long do you work with daily farm? Have your life or
I've been a dairy farmer for over 50 years. I milked my first cows in April of 1972.
It's a long time ago. What's changed?
What's changed? Just about everything. Cows are still stupid, but other than that, everything's the same.
Okay.
I mean, everything has changed.
Everything's changed. Okay, that's good.
It's amazing what for predicaments a cow can get herself into sometimes, but it's a challenge. They're not for everyone. I mean, you need to enjoy you need to enjoy working with equipment. You need to somewhat enjoy trying to keep stuff clean, because if it gets dirty and crappy and you don't take care of it, you're just going to have more problems. I mean, yeah, it's a big investment, and you better have have what it takes to make it work, because if you don't, it's not going to work.
And when you make this investment, so here I know that the interest rate is very low, but for the farms there's some way to get this money for the bank, or how to pay this here in US, because in Brazil the interest rate is so high that people can.
Well, I don't have an answer for that. We were fortunate. We got in a way. Things were bad because we started building this right before COVID, So the supply chain was a wreck, was a mess. Prices kept going up. The bank and everybody else they just wanted new estimates, and it took a long time to get an estimate till we got an estimate. It was out of date, then they wanted another one, and we actually wound up changing banks. Now we went with another bank, which was, we had to pay $10,000 to get out from the other bank, the first bank, but it was a blessing in disguise, because with the new bank, we actually got a locked-in interest rate, no balloon, and back then interest rates were still low, and that was a tremendous money saver. Where with Farm Credit, it's a co-op bank, and they actually pay. We have a low interest rate, and they actually pay their profits, a portion of their profits back every year. So we get a check from the bank, which doesn't happen very often. That was. I hate to think where we'd be at if we'd had to stay with the first bank.
Okay.
But
So, and one question is about how long the calf stay here after they birth.
okay, so the beef on dairy calves are only here. Basically, all the calves are only here for a couple days. The beef on dairy go to a farmer down the road. He sends them to Texas, where they're raised for beef. And then the heifers that we keep, the Holstein heifers, goes over to my home farm, and that's where the herdsman lives. And his wife feeds them. They're over there for till they're about 6 months old, and then they go down to the other farm, the third farm, where the bigger heifers are, and they're finished raised down there, and then they're brought back up to farm 1 to the dry cow barn about 2 months before they calve, and then they're brought over here 3 weeks before they calve.
Okay. So they don't grow here?
No, there's no heifers on this farm. The calves are only here for 2 or 3 days.
Because the land is so expensive to expand, or it's not good for the management?
Our land base is extremely limited. I don't know what the future holds, because with agriculture, it seems like historically it's either get bigger or get out, and I don't see how we can expand. I think we're at the end of the road here. There's no place else here to build anything bigger, to expand. We don't have the land base. I don't know what's going to happen in 15, 20 years. Yeah.